reason, it looks like around 27%.
And if he has to fire some people, let some people go.
From which mine?
To
the world's largest
We've already seen other guys,
primary silver
conflict
mine.
of interest. I'm going to go ahead and step down.
Production has plunged.
So
This is kind of odd.
Zero hedge again.
And I'm going to start with this other.
There are too many Goldman guys
article
on his team. It's actually from Missouri.
2 days after Democratic
Edu.
Senators Elizabeth Warren and Tammy Baldwin sent a letter to
medical
Goldman
article,
CEO Lloyd Blankfein,
but it relates to
asking
silver.
if Goldman effectively
Quick look
runs
surprise.
the country. There's
to its
another
extensive
item that needs
alumni
silver
links
that
at
may be
the
coming
Trump
online full
administration.
steam ahead, and requesting
Something like
details
this,
on
I could
lobbying
see
activities
where it
in
would
the
branch
bank
out
related to
as far as its
review
uses goes
of the Dodd-Frank Act and the
for
Obama
stopping
era
certain types of
fiduciary
bacterial
rule
infections
on
and things after people who have
financial
surgery,
advice,
things like that.
as well
So,
as asking for any
this is not some
communication
old article.
between the bank's employees
Story
and
contacts
Mr. Cohn,
Jeff
Newton,
Salzman
nominee
Salzman J
at
for the Security Exchange Commission
Chair Jay Clayton,
silver
and Chief
ion
Strategist
coated
Steve Bannon. Bloomberg reported
medical
overnight that
devices.
Yet another Goldman banker,
Could fight MRSA.
Jim Donovan, was
while
under
creating
consideration
new
for the number
bone.
2 spot.
There's
at
a
the
problem
Treasury
when they have
Department.
certain types of surgeries.
However, it appears
on
he
people.
has got and
one big
you risk getting this
working against
MRSA, which is now I got to stop for a
or
second because
my wife's correcting me. Just call it MRSA. It's known as MRSA.
So now
MRSA, but it's
Elizabeth
MRSA,
Warren and Tammy Baldwin,
which is
have decided
methicillin-resistant
let's send a letter to CEO Lloyd Blankfein. Let me send a letter to someone that I think was robbing banks. I'm sure they are, but I don't have the proof yet.
Infections
Sir, are you
caused
robbing
by
these banks?
a type of staph
Maybe your people?
bacteria
Why, no, madam.
that has become
We're not
resistant
I don't know what you're talking
to
about.
the antibiotics
Okay,
used
like, what are
to
you
treat
doing?
ordinary staph infections.
You idiot. What are you
the
doing?
rise of MRSA infections
Elizabeth Warren.
is
You
limiting
idiot.
the treatment and options
Why where was your letter to Goldman and Jamie Dimon,
for physicians and surgeons.
JP
Now an
Morgan.
international team of
When Obama was
researchers
in
led
office,
by
2008,
Elizabeth Loboa,
when he's
dean of the
his
University
claim to
of
fame
Missouri
of coming
College
in the
of
office,
Engineering,
he's going to clean up
has
Wall
used
Street. Go
silver
look at his, go look
ion-coated
at his campaign
scaffolds
promises. They're still
or
on YouTube.
biomaterials that
He
are
said
created
everything
to
right.
hold
That's
stem
why I'm not
cells,
even shocked, kind of.
which slow the
that people
spread
voted for him.
of
He
or
said it all
kill
right, but he's one of
MRSA,
those guys, like most of them,
while regenerating new
do
bone.
the opposite.
Scientists feel
we got
that
him in 2012
the
again. Another 4
biodegradable
years.
and biocompatible
Miss Warren.
scaffolds could be
Where was the letter
the first
then?
step in the fight against MRSA.
Why didn't you send a letter
patients.
then?
Now,
The
first
same
of all,
people were running
silver.
As a matter of fact, Goldman Sachs was in
long
charge
ago,
of
years
Goldman.
ago.
And the other bite,
I had a
little
website
Twitter
that I used to run. It was
the
a
club.
short-lived kind of a thing. It lasted
when
about
TARP
6
funds
months.
came out.
And I thought,
And then the
I can
Kiwi
make
one
my
came
own
out.
colloidal
Quantitative
silver,
easing too.
bottle it
Kiwi
up,
free,
and sell it
etc.
online.
Where was the letter?
For, disclaimer for, animal
No
or
letter.
non,
Now we're just
whatever use only.
pissed off we lost, so
Whatever.
we're going to do anything we can to make a scene.
And I had a couple people
All
buy
that,
some from
one
it
thing
at the
working
time, but
against him
I started
is
realizing
the
it's
overdue
kinda not
realization
worth
by
the
the
headache
new president that
box
his cabinet
shipping, all this
openly
crap. It's just-
appears to have been
This
created
was
and
years ago.
staffed by
Nonetheless,
populism,
I made it
arch
myself.
nemesis, or arch
And
nemesis
I bought
number
2
one,
pure
Goldman
silver,
Sachs.
flat little strips.
I think he might be right. I was going to say
0.999 fine silver.
JP Morgan's a close second,
with a
though.
few
Okay?
electrodes on each end.
Besides
DC
Stephen
voltage of
Mnuchin,
approximately 32, 33
Trump's
volts.
pick for Treasury
in
Secretary,
DC.
former Goldman
And
officials
just let it
working
run.
for the new
And I had a
administration
little
include
parts
former
per million
President
tester, and I got
Gary
down to
Cohn,
figuring out
now director
roughly
of the
how
National
long it
Economic
needs to
Council,
run
Stephen
to
Bannon,
produce,
the
10 parts per
chief
million, 20
White
parts
House
per million, 30
strategist,
parts per million.
and Dina Powell,
I've used it here.
formerly the bank's head
like,
of
matter of fact,
philanthropic investment.
today, which is
Well, who would have thought
the
they
day
had
before
such
you're
a moment?
watching this.
Who's an assistant
Going
to
to
the
the
president and senior
movies with my
counselor
kid,
for economic
daddy-daughter
initiatives.
day. For
So
every now
just
and then
like
we do that.
Goldman
One
would
of my kids out
staff
of the
every
three of them.
central bank's core positions prior to Trump, one of the
other
after
ones
the U.S.
watch them with
election,
us to the movies.
world's most influential
And see this movie, but
influential
she
investment
says, no,
bank
it's just me
has
and you,
shifted
it's
all
not
of its
you.
attention
And I understand
to
sometimes you just
one
need
person.
that one-on-one.
And he is
So,
finally starting to
We'll
realize
do something with the my other
that
kid.
that may
So,
not be such a good thing.
She, when she was very young, I
Too
used
many
a picture of
Goldman
her eyes, 'cause
guys
she had
already
this,
have
she
high
used
up
to get
positions in the Trump
this thing in
administration.
her eye. She had
the
had that
person
little
said.
surgery where they open up,
And that could
Like the-
knock Mr.
something in
Donovan
here,
down to one
because
of the
she'd wake up with
undersecretary
absolute
positions,
goop
possibly
in her eye, like it was
undersecretary
like
of the
blue
Treasury
shut, it
for
was huge.
domestic finance.
Ultimately, she ended up getting this little
The
surgery done,
presence,
and she was like
several
really little.
former Goldman officials
as in like
at the
maybe
highest
2 years
reaches
old.
of the administration,
And I'm
runs
like, well,
counter to the
We've
president's
got some of my
regular
stuff.
attacks
Let's-
on Wall Street
the
firms during the
colloidal
campaign.
silver, let's just I got
Donald
the
Trump's
eyedropper thing,
argument
just
for America.
Put it in her eye.
a
Why would you went to bed?
advertisement
Because
that
she'd been
ran
doing it day
in
after
prime
day,
time
she was
days
coming up
before
like
the
that every
election
morning.
featured Goldman
I
Chief
put that in
Executive
there,
Officer
couple
Lloyd
drops, whatever.
Blankfein in a
And right
segment
after that, the
about
next day,
corporate
when she woke
chieftains
up,
pocketing the wealth
it
of
was
American
clear.
workers.
Her eye, and I had a before and
I'm
after
sure
picture
he
that I put on
knows.
the website. Hey,
You
this
know,
is just treated by kid's eye infection.
Experience there.
You know.
Having
But
reneged
the point
on
being,
this
you can
core
drink this
populist
stuff. Now, you
angle
don't
of
go
his
crazy
campaign,
drinking. I know everyone's heard
opening
about that
himself
guy
up
who's
to
skin turned
Democratic
gray and all
attacks
that
over the
garbage.
extensive presence of Goldman bankers in his team. Now the
So
White
is
House seems
the guy
sensitive to
had
the
to pause
issue
it
and
for a
is
second.
taking it
Kids
into
over here
consideration
whispering. Guys,
as it
upstairs.
attempts
Don't stand
to
in front of me and
fall
whisper.
or
Mike
fill
might pick it up.
remaining
Just
top
go upstairs and
posts.
whisper or something.
Really?
So
Donovan, whose
we all heard this
time
time
at Goldman overlapped
his,
with
gray
Nucci,
skin. All that. The guy was
most
drinking it
recently
like
was
he
a managing
freaking,
director
like
at
an
the bank's
alcoholic.
private wealth management division and has been at Goldman
drank this
Goldman
stuff
since
before, other people have.
1993. He would be subject
Putting
to
in,
Senate
again, this little
confirmation
silver
of course.
ion-coated stuff.
At
that
Treasury,
can stay
Donovan would
biodegradable,
join the
just,
effort
kind
to
of, again, it goes
execute
inside
the
like those little
extensive
stitches,
economic
the
policy
sutures,
agenda
whatever.
that
They
the
just
new administration
biodegrade
has
inside
promised.
just fine. Same
So,
thing. The amount of silver is probably minute.
Going
I'm
back
sure.
to my last video,
But I've seen
I
studies
talked about the
years ago
1988
actually
cover
of the
that put
Economist magazine
antibiotics
up against
gold
gold, silver,
flowing
silver
around
water.
the neck of the phoenix,
And nothing
rising
could
from
stand-
ashes of burning dollars,
could hold a
paper dollars.
candle
And on the coin,
next to the
2018
gold silver.
headline cover,
Talking bacterial
get
stuff.
get
only,
ready
not
for a
viruses,
new,
bacteria.
for a world currency.
So
2018
this is again like a
stamped coin.
They'd wrap it or whatever in this material, and it would just slowly biodegrade over
Is
time
there a
inside
few
your body, and it's fine.
Goldman
It's
guys
no
at the
issue.
very top of the
amount of
government
silver, again, I'm
specifically
sure it's minute.
so that we can move
When
forward?
you're talking about the
with that
healthcare
plan from
industry,
30
how many
years ago.
surgeries are happening every day?
They'll be advising
and
him
think about
tooth
this.
and nail
Right now, they're only concerned with these
on
types
how to
of
join this
specific
one
surgeries or
currency
whatever.
system. Trump has already
But
come
other
out,
doctors
as I said in the
realize
last
any
video.
type of similar surgery.
Just talked
Matter
to
of
the
fact,
Chinese
any
president,
surgery going
Japanese
forward, we're just
president.
going to use this. This stops.
We understand the issues
antibac-
with
basically
fighting each other and devaluations.
Instead of sending someone home with
We want to level the
antibiotics,
playing
we're just going
field,
to wrap
we've
this
agreed,
area
yada, yada.
with some of this gauze and
That to me
Band-Aid or
says
whatever.
we all have to join the same
You know,
currency
have a nice
block,
day.
so none of us
So
can
just
manipulate,
imagine,
can't devalue it.
even though
And
it's
then
tiny
that will
amounts
level
and all
the
these little
playing field,
bandages,
because then it's simply who's
and we're
brokers
just
are
talking the
willing
United
to work
States
with
right
for
now.
the same
Other countries, this could be a normal
dollar.
thing.
Again,
Now,
granted,
huge demand
I'm
for
here to
silver
tell you,
in the
China would
future,
still win that
potentially.
battle.
And then we have the other things to
It's
talk
no
about.
different
the
than what we see in America a lot of times.
cars.
Mexicans
They're
will
going to
come
start
across
putting them
the
on
border,
cars now.
usually
Because
illegally.
it has great anti-reflective capabilities.
They'll gather up in a house,
helps
and they'll
with
take the little side
defogging
jobs,
the window,
not paying very
easily
much,
in the
it's under
morning
the
or
table
whatever.
work.
Lot of stuff.
And
then we have the
they
sun
all pitch
cell
in.
from that company out of New
So
Jersey.
essentially, they can afford
I
a
don't know how much
decent
silver it
decent
uses.
size house if they
right
want
now,
to.
I
They
have
don't.
not been able to
They
find
form
the
some-
information on how much it
they
uses,
get
other than it
inside of
uses
just a
silver.
normal home
and
house.
It liquefies
Nothing
it, basically
fancy.
makes it molten.
They split the bills. They
And
do
I don't know how
everything.
much.
But
So
nothing
you have
just stay that way forever, right?
It's going to
Let's
use them to
just say
say
3
3 families
families.
at some point. So there's all these things kind of in the
Women,
works. You can see
Cooking, cleaning, whatever they're doing, and all
And
the
then
men
the
are out
bad
working.
news
Is
that's a far cry.
production
from
is
what we
plunged.
normally do.
Excuse me, in
So,
America.
article from SilverSeek.com.
My house, my one family. I'm
February
the man,
9th,
head of the household in this
2017. This
case.
is
You know, I
new.
make all the money. My wife
Production
stays home. In my
plunged
case, she
at the world's largest primary
homeschools
silver
as well.
mine.
So, you know, it's a typical
The
American
largest primary
thing where
silver
the
mine
man,
in the world expected
you know,
a
goes out to
huge,
work, the woman takes care of the kids,
experience.
whatever. But these
A
days,
huge
men and
decline
women
in its
work.
production
Point being, your
due to-
family,
due to your
and
immediate
this is the
family.
key. One
This
house,
is the big
that's
key.
it.
Falling,
Which means the bills
or
are either split by the
grades.
husband and wife, or in my case, just
we
me.
used to get
I
the
was
or.
with
We had
nobody.
the
I
system
just had to
down.
pay
We know
them.
exactly how much it costs. Everything we're
I can't
tugging
compete,
along, so to
if you
speak.
follow
And
me.
then, oops,
With a family of
the
3,
quality
of
all
the mining
contributing
material,
in a single
or
house
one electric bill,
starting to suck.
which I know would be higher than normal, but still not
suck for the
grossly
tune of
outrageous.
27% difference.
One internet bill, TV and internet,
The
one bill.
Cannington mine,
Water bill, again, a little
now
higher than
run
normal
by
because of the family.
South 23
maybe not,
LTD,
maybe not even a little,
suffered
a
a
bit higher
huge
than
drop
normal.
in its silver production
The rent,
during its
mortgage, whatever it is,
1H
stays the
2017
or 3 people
or
contribute.
1 hour, I don't know.
They could
reporting time period.
Oh, we'll just live together for several years, pay off this house. I don't know what the 1H is.
And then one of us owns
Some
it.
companies, such as South
In
32,
the
start
meantime,
their
we'll all be
fiscal
saving money so we can go
New
get our own
Year
houses
in
too.
July. Then people start
BHP
leaving the house.
Bulletin,
You know, who knows?
who owned the
But
Cannington mine.
the people in
since
China,
its,
because of the
startup
work
in
conditions that are
1997,
allowed over there,
spun it off to South 32 back in
there's just
2015.
how can the American lifestyle compete. Wonder if they did with the sweatshop testing and realized this turd's about to go dry. They will undercut you
before anyone else
every way you can. Like I said when I was doing this remote
according
control
to
program,
South 32's production report, the Cannington mine
on the website, some scripts.
Yeah, by the way, the 1H is not 1 hour. It's something else.
I went online to the
report
of
one of
some
these
types,
places where you
can
1 hour.
According to South 32's production report, the
Cannington
Cannington
mine
mine
saw
saw
its silver production drop by a staggering 27%.
India,
1H 2017 versus 1H 2016.
India, Pakistan.
Silver production at the
US,
Cannington mine declined from 11.9 million ounces in it 1H 2016.
And it says, here's what I'm willing to
8.7 million ounces.
Based on your description, here's what I think I can complete this task for you for.
Basically, these figures are comparing
India,
production from
cheap,
July
cheap,
to December 2015
cheap,
versus July
Canada,
to December 2016.
I guess
Not
that's
as cheap
what
as
the
those
1H
guys.
is.
America,
Again, the latter
I'm not paying that.
reporting period is stated.
Are you
the
crazy? I'm
first
not paying
half.
that. Okay, so 1H. That's what
right.
they mean.
1H
The
is
American
in
lifestyle.
first half.
That guy needs that money.
But
for him to maintain his lifestyle and the quality of work he does, he needs
first
that
half
money.
of 2017.
India.
Well, I guess that's because they say they call
Another
it
sweatshop type
scenario
scenario July
many
to
times.
December of 2016 for whatever
Way
reason.
cheaper.
Anyways,
They're getting American dollars.
regardless,
this
they're
is
charging me
huge
American
drop in
dollars
silver production,
which when
from
converted to
the
their currency,
world's
they're making
largest
good money. Primary silver mine located.
How can we compete with that?
The one American that applied, the one single American that applied to my little project. Here is the actual table from the South 32 report. As badly as I wanted to say, you know what, just for American's sake,
I'll just put that up in case
I
you
want
want
to
to hire
look at
it
it
real quick.
You're so
It's
much
kinda
higher,
small,
but
like 3 times or so higher. I don't even
nonetheless,
know.
payable silver
I can't
production,
possibly do that.
27%, silver
it's
sales,
absurd.
26%, whatever. Bottom line, it's so not looking too
think
Smurfy, right?
We may
Not
be in for a
looking
little
Smurfalicious.
surprise in 2018, and it's called One World.
The
Currency.
reason
Get ready
for the
it.
big drop in silver production at Cannington
Donovan's name
was due
emerged
to the
in January as
huge
a front
decline in the silver
Undersecretary
ore
of
grade
Domestic
at
Finance,
the mine.
a key treasury position.
The average
that
silver
helps oversee
ore
the
grade fell from
266
market
grams
for
per
treasuries.
ton.
Meanwhile, underscoring the coverage Trump's Goldman
198
ties are
grams
getting
per
in the
ton.
press on Saturday,
Falling
Gary Cohn, the former
silver
silver ore
Sachs
grades
president
are
and
nothing new
CEO
for
who
Cannington,
runs economic
as it
policy
has
inside
been
the White
going
House,
on for quite some time,
and who is now in charge
the world's
of drafting
largest
Trump's
primary silver mine
phenomenal
once produced
tax
silver
plan,
at an average ore
got the
grade
star treatment
of 636
both the Wall Street Journal and
grams
New
per
York
ton.
Times
That's almost
published two very
not quite
similar
3 times
laudatory
what it was
pieces detailing
year
Cohn's
before.
rise.
But still,
Some of
great.
the highlights,
More,
from Wall Street Journal,
which now is of course more than 3
Donald
times
Trump's
its current
first
silver
meeting
grade.
with Gary Cohn in late
Here
November,
we can
and he
see the
appeared
Cannington's
so
average
impressed
silver
with the
ore grade
then
declined from
president of Goldman Sachs
636
Group, Inc.
that he
grams per
joked
ton in
about
2000,
offering him
the
the
year 2000
post
to a
of Treasury
low
Secretary,
of 255
said a person
in
who recalled the
2016.
moment. During its
Peak
peak nearby
years,
were in 2005,
the odds
Cannington
on
produced
favorite
44
of the
million
job,
ounces,
Mr.
at an average ore grade of 515
got
grams
the
per
nod.
ton. This one single mine produced
on
more
Friday,
than half
Senators
a
Elizabeth
billion
Warren and Tammy
ounces of
Baldwin
silver
sent a letter to Mr.
since the year
Blankfein,
2000.
CEO of Goldman now,
Even
asking
though
whether
production
Goldman
has continued
officials
to
have been in
decline at
contact with
Cannington,
Mr. Cohn
it was still the
or
largest
other
primary silver mine
Goldman
in
alumni
2015.
in the White House, and whether the firm expects to benefit
This is a
from
table from
changes
Silver
to
Institute
financial
shows the Cannington
regulation
mine ranked in the
Mr.
second
Cohn
in
is
2015
pushing
behind
through
Polymetal's
orders.
Ducat mine in Russia.
Now,
However,
the
revised
answer would be yeah. If
data,
we're gonna have a
gotta love
big tax
boy,
breaks,
do I
you know,
love
big corporate
revised
tax
data.
breaks coming back, or not even back, coming to
data
America.
shows that the Cannington mine actually
first time maybe
produced
ever. I don't know if we've
22.6
ever had low
millions of
tax
silver in
rates for
2015,
corporate tax
not
rates.
22.2. Whatever.
The answer is yes, and she wants them to
So
say
when
yes.
the
So the
Silver
Institute
Institute
can then
publishes
say,
their updated primary silver mine
so
data
again,
for
this is
2016,
an
they will
inside
put
deal.
Cannington in the
You're
number one spot for
you're
2015.
using your power
That being
inside
said,
the
Cannington
Treasury
will
to
fall
give
to
yourself
the number 2
make it,
spot in
good deal.
2016.
Well, no, not necessarily. Even though they certainly,
when all the data
benefits
is
would do that
finally
in a heartbeat.
released.
This is a
Again, you'll have always
blanket
because
tax
you're behind.
deal for everybody
The-
in
as
America,
far as
every
data
company
goes.
in America.
According to the data
So
released
naturally
by the
they would
mining
have to say
companies
yes.
here,
Of course,
the
the tax
production revolt.
What kind of question is that?
for
Tax rates are
2016.
outrageous now. If they come down, are we going to benefit? Of course we are. We're a corporation listed in America. In numerous states, as a matter of fact,
South
yeah,
23's
of course.
Cannington mine 21.4.
So again, that's nonsense. The whole Democratic thing with these
Polymetal's
idiots,
Ducat is 19.3
that's
million
nonsense.
ounces.
That's don't even pay attention to that.
Regardless, to see silver production
spokesman
fall
for Goldman said it
27%
had no
at the
involvement in
Cannington
drafting
mine
executive orders.
is quite amazing
In an
when we
interview
know
before the
its
executive
tremendous
orders were signed,
production
Mr.
history.
Cohn said the administration's
South
goal of
23 states that
deregulating
the
financial markets
Cannington
has
mine will
nothing to do
extract
with
higher
Goldman
grade
Sachs,
silver ores in the
but was
second half of the
focused
year.
on maintaining the nation's
But production
dominant position in global banking.
is estimated to only reach 19 million ounces.
And
for
if
the
you
year.
believe that, when the U.S. and global oil production starts to
Goldman
decline
Sachs
in a big way,
has a nice
silver production will feel
10-year-old
CDO
Why?
squared.
Because byproduct
Silver supply from copper, zinc, and lead,
zero hedge.
Production will
I have to
fall
agree with it,
precipitously.
Are
As
they
base
really
metal
concerned?
demand plummets during the next
Maybe.
financial and economic crisis.
If you have the
best
vampire
time to invest in
squids,
silver is before supply evaporates.
people
or
working
before
in the
its
highest
price and
positions
value
of
heads towards
the
Jupiter.
financial side of our government,
Check back
Treasury,
for more news articles at the SRS report. So I guess that's
they would
maybe he's
easily
the one that actually wrote this article.
What do I always say?
It's not the king; it's the king's
I
advisors.
covered a lot of what
always
that guy
has
says,
been,
a lot
and
of
it's
his
always
blog.
been that way forever, and it will remain.
So this is
that
one
way.
company, and again, we expect
the
higher
king
grades
himself
later.
doesn't know everything about everything.
As a company
right?
with shareholders,
He may know a little.
that's kind of something
about
you're
things.
Honestly, you're going to
He doesn't
say
know everything
no matter who
he
you
needs
are.
to know
Oh
about
no, we'll be
everything.
fine. It's just a little blip.
We got my trusty advisors.
Good
If the
report coming
trusty
out. Trust us,
Advisors
we got
are
more.
Goldman Sachs vampires.
And then unexpectedly,
They're going to be
revision,
advising
double
him
revision, unexpectedly,
the ultimate agenda. One,
and you're hit with
world
other bad
currency.
news.
I do.
So my
believe
question
that
is, how many of these
Economist
other
magazine cover
mining companies, some of
something
the large players,
to
anyways,
it.
have
And
experienced anything even kind
again
of
with
similar,
the recent
whether for the
conversation
same
with
reason
Trump
or other
and
reasons? In other words, just a
President of
reduction
China in the Prime
last
Minister
year
of Japan,
or 2015 to 2016, or will be from
they come
2016
to agreement. He said
2017 when we see what happens
something
this year.
sooner than anyone.
While
thinks.
simultaneously, silver demand as precious
And
metals
yet
are
didn't
concerned,
say what this was.
they're doing fantastic.
Excuse me, Mr. President.
Going up and up and up.
What
over
is
the last
exactly
few years,
it
several
that
years.
we're going to be seeing sooner than
And
anyone
we're
thinks?
finding new little inventions and things coming out that are using silver.
That's the question.
And I think
the
again,
answer
this is a
just might
recipe
be
for supply problems for
some
the
kind of
demand
new
issue.
currency we all get on board.
That's
with.
why you want to
So we
have
can't
it
fight
first.
each
That's what I've
other,
been talking about
devalue
for so
there,
freaking
devalue
long.
here.
Years.
We all use the
And it
same
just goes to
currency.
show you that all these years I've been talking about it. I've been talking about things like this.
Whatever.
You can't just keep producing
I'm
stuff at the
speculating,
same
but I'm
trying to
rate
connect
when
some
dots.
stuff gets
And
harder
it's
to
hard to
mine,
connect
it's
them
deeper, the ore grades, there's all these things out
outside
there.
of the room, and you can't.
And
even
it
hear
can't just
really
sit there
what's
and stay at
going
the
on
same
inside the
value
room.
either.
You can kind of see.
So I think
mumbles
this
every
is
now
a
and then, so to
recipe
speak, and then kind of guess what was
for
happening.
disaster for
but
some
there
people.
are subtle little things. Sometimes they
and
say
an
something.
epic
Trump has
win
said a few
for
subtle
others.
things,
And those
that
others
are
are
making me
people
think
holding
that
these
this
medals.
may be a go time.
I know I've been talking about for many years.
To start taking shape. Doesn't
And I'm
mean
telling
it
you
may
now,
be
if I found some
in
kind of
existence
data,
and being used in 2018,
if I found
we
some
may
kind of
get to a
data,
point where we actually do have
and
currency
really-
wars and all these
I'd
things,
have to
we feel
really
about
look
the
at it
pain,
because what I'm about to tell you about this so-called data,
then they
if it
come out
ever
and say,
existed.
"See, this is."
We stumbled on it, and that made me say, "Oh my goodness!"
They devalued, then we devalued, then they devalued, then
I
now
think
they're
we might
devalued.
actually be wrong
Guys,
now
if
for
it's
X, Y,
we
Z,
understand.
whatever reason.
We got to have
we
a
might be
one
wrong now.
currency.
Oh, crap.
None of these countries, we all agree to it.
I'm
Fair
not
for
going to
everybody.
keep that a secret.
And again,
liquidate my
anyone
silver
feeling
and not tell
pain,
you
financial
guys.
pain, is going to say, just make the pain
Not to
stop.
save my reputation or not.
Just
No.
make the pain stop. I'll do anything you say.
I came out
One
with
world
big
currency.
America. Put it in her eye.
Why
would you went to bed?
advertisement
Because
that
she'd been
ran
doing it day
in
after
prime
day.
time
It was
days
coming up
before
like
the
that every
election
morning.
featured Goldman
I
chief
put that in
executive
there,
officer
couple
Lloyd
drops, whatever.
Blankfein.
And
And
right
right
after
after
that,
the
about
next day,
corporate
when she woke up,
pocketing the wealth
it
of
was
American
clear.
workers, her eye, and I had a before and
I'm
after
sure
picture
he
that I
knows.
put on the website. Hey,
You
this
know,
is just treated by kids' eye infection
experience there.
Having
But
reneged
the
on
point being,
this
you can
core
drink the
populist
stuff. Now, you
angle
don't
of
go
his
crazy
campaign,
drinking.
and I know everyone's heard
opening
about that
himself
guy
up
whose
to
skin turned
democratic
gray and all
attacks
that
over the
garbage.
extensive presence of Goldman bankers in his team. Now the
So
White
is
House seems
the guy
sensitive to
at
the
the
issue
pause it
and
for a
is
second.
taking it
Kids
into
over here
consideration,
whispering. Guys,
as
go
it
upstairs.
attempts
Don't stand
to
in front of me and
fall
whisper.
or
Mike might
fill
pick it up.
remaining
Just
top
go upstairs and
posts.
whisper or something.
Really?
So Donovan, whose
We all heard this story
time
of
at
the guy who
Goldman
got
overlapped
his,
with
gray
Mnuchin,
skin. All that. The guy was
most
drinking it
recently
like
was
it
a managing
freaking,
director
like
at
an
the bank's
alcoholic.
private wealth management division, and has been at Goldman
drank this
Goldman
stuff
since
before, other people have.
1993. He would be subject to Senate confirmation,
silver
of course.
ion-coated stuff
At
that
Treasury,
can stay
Donovan would
biodegradable,
join the
just,
effort
kind of,
to
again,
execute
it goes inside
the
like those little
extensive
stitches,
economic
the
policy
sutures,
agenda
whatever.
that
They
the
just
new administration
biodegrade
has
inside you is
promised.
fine. Same
So,
thing. The amount of silver is probably minute.
Going
I'm
back
sure.
to my last video,
But I've seen
I
studies
talked about the
years ago
1988
actually
cover of the
that put
Economist magazine,
antibiotics
this giant
up against
gold
gold, silver,
flowing
silver
around
water.
the neck of the phoenix,
And nothing
rising
could
from
stand-
ashes of burning dollars,
could hold a
paper dollars.
candle
And on the coin,
next to a cool
2018
little silver.
headline cover.
Talking bacterial
Get
stuff.
Get
only,
ready
not
for a
viruses.
new,
Bacteria.
for a world currency.
So
2018.
this is again like a
stamped coin.
They
Different reason.
It looks
They
like
will not
around
control him.
27%.
And if he has to fire some people, let some people
From
go.
which
he's
mine?
going to.
The world's
We've already seen that.
largest
We've already seen
see another guy.
Primary silver
conflict of
mine.
interest. I'm going to go ahead and step down. Production has
plunged.
So this is kind of odd. Zero hedge again. And I'm going to start with this other. There are too many Goldman guys on his team. It's actually from Missouri. 2 days after Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren and Tammy Baldwin sent a letter to medical Goldman CEO Lloyd Blankfein, but it relates to asking if Goldman effectively runs the country. There's another item that needs silver links that may be coming online full steam ahead, and requesting something details like this, on lobbying activities where it would branch out related to, as far as its uses goes, of the Dodd-Frank Act and the Obama era types of bacterial infections and things after financial surgery advice, like as well as asking for any communication. Not some old article between the bank's employees, story contacts Jeff Salzman, nominee Salzman J at for the Securities Exchange Commission Chair Jay Clayton, Silver and Chief Ion Coated Bannon. Bloomberg report. Medical devices. Yet another Goldman banker fight MRSA. Jay Donovan was under creating new for the number 2 spot. There's a problem when they have certain types of surgeries. However, it appears he has got one big risk getting this MRSA, which is now I got to stop for a second because my wife's correcting me. Just call it MRSA. It's known as MRSA. So now, MRSA, but Elizabeth Warren and Tammy Baldwin, which have decided methicillin-resistant rapid or whatever in this material, and it would just slowly biodegrade over time. Is there a few body, and it's fine. Goldman guys at the very top of the government specifically? Again, I'm sure it's minute, so that we can move forward. When you're talking about the healthcare industry, how many surgeries are happening every day? They'll be advising him. Think about this. Tooth and nail. Right now, they're only concerned with these types on how to join this one currency system. Trump has already other doctors have realized any type of similar surgery. Just matter of fact, any surgery going forward, we're just going to use this. This stops. We understand the issues with basically fighting each other and devaluations. Sending someone home with antibiotics. We're just going to wrap this area with some of this gauze and Band-Aid or whatever. We all have to join the same. Have a nice day. None of us. So just imagine devalue it, even though it's tiny amounts and all these little bandages. Then it's simply who's. And we're just talking the United States right now. For the same other countries. This could be a normal thing. Again, granted, huge demand for silver. Tell you, in the future, potentially. And then we have the other things that talk about. No different. Windscreens in America on cars. Mexicans are going to start putting them on cars now. Usually illegally. It has great anti-reflective capabilities. They'll gather up in a house. Helps with take the little side jobs, the window, not paying very much in the morning or whatever. A lot of stuff. Then we have the sun cell from that company out of New Jersey. Essentially, they can afford. I don't know how much silver it uses if they right now. They don't. They're not able to find the information on how much it uses, other than it uses silver. Normal whole house. It liquefies it, basically makes it molten. They split the bills. They do. I don't know how much. But nothing. You have just stay that way forever, right? It's going to use them to say 3 families at some point. So there's all these things kind of in the works. You can see cooking, cleaning, whatever they're doing, and all the men are bad news is that's a far Croc CEO Lloyd Blankfein. Let me send a letter to someone that I think was robbing banks. I'm sure they are, but I don't have the proof yet. Infections. Sir, are you robbing these banks? A type of staph bacteria. Why, no, madam. That has become resistant to the antibiotics used to treat ordinary staph infections. You idiot! What are you doing? The rise of MRSA infections is limiting the treatment and options. Where was your letter to Goldman and Jamie Dimon? For physicians and surgeons. Now, an international team of researchers led by Elizabeth Loboa, when he's dean of the university, his claim to fame of coming in the office, he's going to clean up Wall Street. Go look at his campaign promises. They're still on YouTube. Biomaterials that he said everything right. Stem cells, I'm not even shocked. Would slow the spread of he said it all right, but he's one of those guys like most of them. While regenerating new bone. The opposite. Scientists feel that the biodegradable and biocompatible scaffolds could be the first step in the fight against MRSA. Why didn't you send a letter to them? Now, first of all, people were running silver. As a matter of fact, Goldman Sachs was long ago, years ago, in the other bite. I had a website that I used to run. It was a short-lived kind of a thing. It lasted about 6 months. Came out, and I thought, I can make my own colloidal silver, bottle it up, and sell it online. Where was the letter? For disclaimer for animal no letter, now we're just whatever use only. Pissed off we lost, so we're gonna do anything we can to make a scene. And I had a couple people buy some from it. One thing working against him, I started realizing this overdue realization by the new president that his cabinet openly appears to have been created and staffed by populism. Nonetheless, I made it myself, or arch nemesis. And I bought one pure Goldman silver, flat little strips. I think he might be right. I was going to say fine silver. JP Morgan's a close second, though. Electrodes on each end. Besides Stephen Mnuchin, approximately 32, 33 Trump's pick for Treasury Secretary, former Goldman officials working for the new administration include former President Tester, and I got down to figuring out now director roughly how long it needs to run
Stephen Bannon,
produce,
the
10 parts per million,
chief White House
parts per million, 30
strategist,
parts per
and
million.
Dina Powell,
I've used it here.
formerly the bank's head of philanthropic investment.
Today, which is
Well, who would have thought
the
they
day
had
before
such
you're
a moment?
watching this,
Who's an assistant
into
to the
the
president and senior
movies and
counselor
my kid,
for economic
daddy-daughter
initiatives.
day. For
So
every now
just
and then we
like
do
Goldman
that. One
would
of my kids out
staff
of the
every
three of them.
central bank's core positions prior to Trump,
One of the
after
ones
the U.S.
wants to come with
election,
us to the movies
world's most influential
and see this movie, but
influential
she
investment
says, no,
bank
that's just me,
has
it's
shifted
just
all
not
of
to.
its
And
attention
I understand
to
sometimes you just
one
need
person.
that one-on-one,
And he is
So,
finally starting to
we'll
realize
do something with my other kid.
that may
So,
not be such a good thing.
She, when she was very young, I
Too
used
many
a picture of
Goldman
her eyes, 'cause
guys
she had
already
this,
have
she
high
used
up
to get
positions in the Trump
this thing in
administration.
her eye. She had
the
to have that
person
little
said.
surgery where they open up,
And that could
Like the-
knock Mr.
something in
Donovan
here,
down to one of
because
the
she'd wake up with
undersecretary
absolute
positions,
goop
possibly
in her eye, like it was
undersecretary
like
of
blue
the
thread,
Treasury
it
for
was huge.
domestic finance.
Ultimately, she ended up getting this little
The
surgery
presence,
done, and she was like
several
really little.
former Goldman officials
as in like
at the
maybe
highest
2 years
reaches
old.
of the administration
And I'm
runs
like, well,
counter to the
We've
president's
got some of my
regular
stuff.
attacks
Let's-
on Wall Street
the
firms during the
gold and
campaign.
silver. Let's just I got
Donald
the
Trump's
eyedropper thing,
argument
let's just
for America